Okay, welcome to the first SynAnalyzer video. Fingers crossed everything goes well in this video. We're gonna test it out and hopefully it all works. So we're gonna get started by first launching the Python environment. Or sorry. First, I should give you kind of an introduction to the files and how the files are organized, and what you might need to do in order to make sure things work. Okay, so um, everything's organized by batch. And so on your computer, it's probably already set up this way where you have a data folder and then there might be this other type of data subfolder, and then there's this batch analysis. And so for me, this experiment set has images from multiple preps, and they're all pulled together into one batch. And so, like, the bare minimum of what you need in order to run through the SynAnalyzer code is having this Imaris Stats Files, which these come out of Imaris. And so these are pre-syn. And you can see here that I didn't do any post-synaptic reconstructions. So the only files in here are all pre-syn. And the Fiji SynAnalyzer code will see what's available and only allow you to do what's available. So if you also have post-synaptic reconstructions in here, you'll be able to use them. Okay, so then the metadata folder, you don't need this until later on in the analysis, but I think your computer's already set up with this. I did this yesterday. So what you just want to do is one is to make sure you don't open this file until you're ready to unblind yourself. So the samples file, I can do this because I'm already I've already worked through this, but the samples file has all the information of like what's the sample number, what was the animal ID, what was the sex, any information that's important or relevant to the analysis. And you just need that later on when we're making the Python plots and when we're actually like plotting the results based on condition. And then most importantly, you need the raw images. And so they do need to be saved locally in order for the Fiji or ImageJ code to work. It won't work if you're trying to access them over the server. So that's probably the biggest time suck in terms of setting up your directories, is just transferring all these files over, because let's see, that's like 81 gigabytes of data right there. Okay, so we're going to go through the initiation process here, and you're going to see how this directory has changed. Once the directory has already been through the initiation, you're going to see these additional folders. So I think the noise-induced hearing loss for the Netron G1 may be partially set up. So hopefully this all works out. All right, so to get started, first thing you need to do is open up Terminal. And so there should be a shortcut to Terminal at your dock. And then just click on Terminal. And I'm going to activate my Conda environment. So my Conda environment is called Syn Counting, I think. Yours on your computer is called SynAnalyzer. And I actually put screenshots of this on that computer in the user guides folder, in the documents folder. So if it gets confusing, just reference whatever's there. Okay, so Conda activate, all lowercase, but then the actual environment name for me has capitals. So activate syn counting. Okay, good. And then I see that it worked because the parentheses here indicate which Python environment is active, and syn counting is now active. And then the next thing I'm going to do is open up JupyterLab. So all lowercase, takes a second. And then you didn't see that because it's on a different screen, but I'll drag it over here. This is what JupyterLab looks like, and this is what should have been opened. So now This is a different repository. This is not SynAnalyzer, so I need to navigate. I'm using this bar here, this menu to navigate to my SynAnalyzer repository. And the first step in the process is to convert all of those Imaris Stats files into files that the ImageJ code can use. And I think this should all be pretty straightforward and set up for you. Fingers crossed, just reach out to me if it's not. But so here's the file that you want to open. And it's 1.0 SynAnalyzer convert Imaris Stats file local. And then to run this code, the most important thing that you have to do is you have to make sure that the batch ID matches the folder name here. So I think your folder name is going to be like Netrin-G1 NIHL, and then you have another one that is Runx1 NIHL. And so whenever you're running that specific, whenever you're analyzing that specific batch, you just have to make sure that whatever is typed into these or these apostrophes matches the name of that folder. I'm pretty sure that the voxel width, height, and depth is the same for your images, but correct me if I'm wrong, and we can always go back and change it later. Yeah, I just noticed that for some of mine, it's actually 0.34. I'll go over, when we switch over to ImageJ, I'll show you how to check if that's actually the case or not. All right, so the way that Python notebooks work is that the code runs in these little cells, and that's what this is. This is a cell, and we run it one cell at a time. And so the first thing you just do is like put your cursor anywhere in that cell, and then you go up here and you click play. And then down at the bottom here, it's going to say busy. And so you want to wait until it says idle before you advance to the next cell. So we just imported the packages that we're going to need in order to run the code. And now we're going to run this next block, which is just setting up certain variables, certain names. It ran really fast because it's simple. And now here's what it's going to initialize the directory. So it's going to create a folder if it doesn't already exist. So see, that's what just got created there, XYZ CSVs. That's what the ImageJ code needs. And now it's going to check which files are available for conversion. And this is leftover from the last time that I ran this. This is the output. I ask it to print the name of all of the files so that I can verify. And I can clear output, clear cell output. See, so I just got rid of that, but now I'm going to run it again. And now this is all new. And it's really fast because this is a very simple task for the computer. Okay, so then the next thing that it actually needs to do is open up every single one of these Excel files. So we can just open it up really quick so you can see it. Right, so this Excel file is pretty big. There's like an insane number of sheets. And there's all this information on these sheets, and we don't need all of it. And ImageJ is going to struggle trying to interpret how these are structured. So the whole point of this code is to convert those files into something that ImageJ is able to work with. And that's what it's going to do in this for loop. So for every single file that's in this list, it's going to go through and complete each of these tasks. You can feel free to try to read through here if you want. I try to make the code as interpretable as possible, and hopefully it actually does. But at the end of the day, what is going to happen is we're going to get a new file that's a CSV file that is kind of like a condensed version of that Imaris Stats file. Okay, so now I'm going to hit play, and this is going to take a minute. So you can see that little dot right there says that it's working, it's busy. There's a lot of files in there, so this does take a minute. but I can go over here and I can actually monitor the progress and see that the files are being added one by one. So I'm going to stop the video there because obviously this is taking a while. And then the next video is going to be what do we do in ImageJ once we have all of these files converted. A quick note though, I guess, before we leave, because usually you would wait to do this until you have all of your Imaris reconstructions done. But what happens if you have to go back and get an Imaris Stats file because you didn't have it when you ran it this first time, and you don't want to have to go through this process of converting every single file again? What you should be able to do, and hopefully this actually works, is that you should be able to empty this folder of everything except the final file that you need to convert. So let's say I convert all of these and then I went back to Imaris and was like, oh shoot, I need that file too. What I would do is empty this folder. You can either put the file somewhere else. They should be backed up on a server somewhere, but just empty this folder so that there's nothing in it, and then rerun this Python code. It'll only see that file, and then it'll convert that file specifically, and then you'll have that new file added to the XYZ CSVs. So I think that should work. All right, I will see you in the next video. Oh yeah, I guess when this finishes running, um, it'll stop, right? Oh, actually, it did finish. It says idle. Okay, so then since I don't need Jupyter Lab running, and Chrome is very resource intensive, like it's a memory hog, I actually do shut this down every time I'm done using it. So there's actually a kernel that's running in order for me to run this Python notebook. So you just go to File and then Shut Down, and it's going to say, right, do you want to shut down Jupyter Lab? Good, yes. Okay, server stopped. All right, and then I'm going to quit Chrome. And now I'm back to our folder. And if I also need to do this, you probably don't need to, but you can go back to your terminal and you can see that the process that was running to run Jupyter Lab has now stopped. And you're back to just like your regular command line interface. And it's a good practice to just deactivate your environment. Deactivate. And now we're back to the base environment in terminal, and I'll go ahead and quit out of terminal. Okay, see you in the next video.